Well, we welcome you to Blues Game Day Live alongside Kelly Chase, Darren Pang here. The St. Louis Blues are behind us. A couple of days on the road. Minnesota, a point. Montreal, an exciting 2 points. Kelly Chase, and now the division rival, the Dallas Stars. We haven't seen them in a while since Game 2, and Ken Hitchcock's squad was here. I think this kind of amps things up a little bit, getting the old Central Division blood flowing.
Well, I know that Hitch will be excited for the game, obviously. He spent a long time here, did a heck of a job as a coach. And a team there that maybe the expectations were a little bit higher with some of the moves that they made. They didn't get any younger. They got older, but they got experience, and they got goaltending. And so it's hard to say what you get out of the Dallas Stars, but boy, when they bring their A game, they're a really tough group to play against.
Well, we know that the Blues, in that game against Montreal, Braden Chen with his third career NHL hat trick, nothing like being in Montreal and seeing the game from the gondola that we're there and watching that game, and exciting. Now, even giving up the couple of goals, gets to a tie game with Shea Weber scoring. I still felt pretty confident with the way the Blues were playing.
No, I do too. I mean, listen, I think it was a carryover. The habits that were in the Minnesota game where the result wasn't there were in the Montreal game. And certainly there was a really odd goal. I don't know if you've ever seen anything like it. I have never. Where Shea Weber scored, and it looked like
the curveball.
It looked like a Kent DeColvey curveball.
It was a little bit of a curveball or a slider. I guess it depends on what hand is firing it.
That's exactly right. But it goes in on him, and I think that sort of lifted the spirits of Montreal because they were boxed out of the game until that point. So with a couple of face-off wins, they get a couple of goals. Really don't generate a lot of chances because of the way the Blues played. They were tenacious on the puck. They were hounding the puck like we've seen them in the past. And I think it was an impressive win for the Blues.
When I'm looking out at the skate right now, and it is only the morning skate, and there could possibly be some changes, but what I don't see is Sammy Blais on one of the lines. I do see Yashkin up with Berglund and Magnus Payarvi. And so for Sammy Blais, I think the coaching staff have done a really good job with Sammy. He's been called up, now 3 times, and he's had some really good moments. He had a couple of pretty good scoring chances there late in the game in a tie game in Montreal. Would have been a great story. Yeah? Sammy Blais cuts back to the middle, scores the game-winning goal in Montreal. But all in all, I think he's learning as he goes. Maybe because this is a big Central Division matchup, a little more heavyweight, maybe big Chris Thorburn in that fourth line role.
Thorburn will play in that role because of his experience and because of the fact that everybody can read the stats and knows what Chris Thorburn's about. He's not going to back off an inch. He's going to give you that grit, that toughness that you need. And in Sammy's case, I mean, here's a kid that's going to get an opportunity. His goal now has to be, okay, listen, I proved that I can play in the league and that I belong and that I, can do some things. Obviously, he'd like to be scoring a little when he gets those chances. But I think his goal now has to be, how am I going to be an everyday player? What are the things that I can do now to be an everyday player? I think he's going to add that secondary scoring eventually before the season's out. This kid has that. He's got the brain for the net, and I like that about him. And I think that he's a big, strong guy. He's asked to play defense. He went down and worked on his defense. He's asked to be more physical. He's done that. He was great in Montreal in that aspect. So I think the experience now is just, hey, take what I've learned so far and turn it into an everyday player. Okay,
Chaser, you know Jamie Benn real well. We've seen this Dallas Stars team. They've showed glimpses of being a really great team, and obviously a couple of years ago they led the Central Division in points, and it was a heck of a matchup. 7-game series between the Blues and the Dallas Stars. Games like this, we'll see those individual matchups. You and I are between the benches and get to see it up close. We've seen Jamie Benn up close and personal, and this has become a pretty good rivalry between the two.
Jamie Benn takes it personal when they're not going well. So he tries to pull the guys into the battle with him. He tries to put guys on his back and say, well, and then lead by example. Whether it's the toughness, whether it's a goal, going to the net, whatever it is, Jamie Benn, he wants to lead by example. You could see in that game, I think he had a broken hand or a broken thumb or something in that series, where Jamie Benn was just not the same. It was just very unlike him to veer off on a power play and not try and be the guy that was kind of the go-to guy. That's a tough situation to be in. When he's healthy like he is now, I'll tell you what, to me, he's the modern-day Mark Messier because he wants to pull guys into the battle and get guys, fired up. And he's such a team player and competitor. I think it really shows, and especially his character shows mostly when they're having their struggles.
Yeah.
I think that's important to note because that's what good leaders do.
Well, it looks like he'll face Jake Allen if practice is any indication. You would expect that. I mean, I think Jake had his I don't think the blades of his skates are going to fall off like they did in Montreal.
You should tell that exactly how that happened too, because it's a crazy story.
Incredible that his blade hits the right post, comes off, but really there's a bolt in there. I just assumed that the blade had come off. They couldn't find the bolt. It was in the snow in the net. So when he did go off to get the new blade, he went with an old skate so that the trainer could make sure that they fixed the entire blade. When he came back on the ice again,
one new skate, one old skate.
One new, one old. He felt the bolt was a little loose again, and he actually had a loose blade when he came out again.
Stepped off the ice, and the second one fell out. They've never seen one fall out, and two of them did in a matter of
so I guess
a few minutes.
I guess we could understand why a couple of shots from the point went in off the face-off.
Be a little distracted.
Yeah. So before, I would have to think too that the Blues will work on those lost face-offs, clear shots on goal. Montreal did a great job with that and created scoring chances. But we're going to let you go. Blues Game Day Live is about to wrap up, my friend, and it's the Blues and the Stars.
Edition. So in the meantime and in between time, it's another edition.
It's another edition of Blues Game Day Live here from Scott Trade Center. Game time tonight, it's 7 o'clock Central Time. We know you're going to be joining us on KMOX and on Fox Sports Midwest and on stlouisblues.com, on the app, of course, as well, on every one of the social platforms. For Kelly Chase, I'm Darren Pang. Enjoy the game.
Darren Robert Pang.